All right, so a few minutes ago, we saw John's green thumb report, of course, from Savage Maple Farm in Cannonsburg.
He's chomping at the bit here to get started with things. Joining us now in the studio.
You guys got to wait. You guys got to wait a little bit.
But we've been smelling this forever. So we're talking about your maple syrup adventure, which is just the interesting thing is, like you said, we think of this being more in New England, but it's not. It's right here.
Yeah, and when you think of it, you think of Vermont, you think of New Hampshire, and Minnesota, Michigan, New York, and parts of West Virginia. But in right outside of Cannonsburg, Kentucky, they have Keith Moore and his wife Jennifer have a maple syrup operation, and they make real maple syrup. You know, there, and I had a chance to be out there the other day. I used to do it for about 5 years, so it was really nice to be able to go back and see it again.
It's pretty interesting how it all works. I mean, I know you've brought some things to show us.
Yeah, and the old way, matter of fact, this is a metal bucket, but Keith said they used to use wooden buckets to collect it. And what they'll do is they'll take a spile, this is called a spile, and they'll drill in the tree. And then when they drill in the tree, then they tap this spile in, and then right underneath the cambium layer, the sap then comes out and drips down, and this is connected to the bucket, like that. That's the old way.
And you were saying that they can actually, when they tap a tree, they can fill up that entire bucket just with one tree?
Oh, in one day or less than a day, it will really come out. It will really come out. But now instead of the buckets, Keith and many other people that make maple syrup go the modern way. This is, instead of a metal spile, they have a plastic one. And they drill in the tree and they tap this in, and the maple syrup runs through this tube. And Brittany, it goes into a bigger tube and a bigger tube, and then finally into a larger tube. And he's got these all the way through the woods. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
You know what he's got. And they actually, he doesn't have to go collecting the buckets and pour them. He just goes to his tank at the end of this line and takes it to his
That is pretty
incredible. It's not that hard. Yeah. Now you said one bucket you could collect easily in a day, but how much does it take to actually make maple syrup?
You know, it depends. It depends upon the trees you're using. Now he uses a lot of red maples and some sugar maples, but places where there's just all sugar maples, in the early part of the season, and the best time for it to start flowing is when the temperature goes down to 20 degrees and goes up to 40. Then it really comes out if the rest of the conditions are great.
So they've had an interesting season then, because we keep going down and going back up.
That's exactly right, but there's certain situations where, like, wind really hasn't played in very well. You asked me how much it takes. The early season, it could take like 30 gallons of maple sap to make a gallon of maple syrup. But at the end,
like a lot of work.
At the end, when the buds start to swell on the tree, then the sugar content goes down, and it might take as much as 50 to 60 gallons of maple sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup.
So you really should be treasuring your maple syrup, because it takes a lot of that to just make this.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of effort. Now, Keith and his wife Jennifer and their son and even their grandson work in that, and they all work real well. But the thing about it is they have a thing called a reverse osmosis. Takes most of the water out, takes more than half the water out, and leaves you with a more concentrated sap, so they don't have to keep cooking it down.
Awesome. All right, so we covered maple syrup really quickly because we don't have much time left here. Talk about your pancake recipe.
A pancake recipe is pretty easy. You can use any pancake recipe, but I like to use a couple of regular flour. I like to use the baking soda and the baking powder, both in it. I put half milk in it and half buttermilk in it, and I put liquid butter. I melt the butter and put it in here. Then, of course, the topping is the blueberries.
Whole blueberries.
So no regular pancake mix for you, John.
Yeah, it's low-cal.
Low-cal, I'm sure.
Whole stick of butter.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And so you're going to cook these up?
Tell you what I'll do. We'll put some on here, and when we come back, what we're going to do is we're gonna taste test some of their products that they make, where they call it value-added products from the maple syrup.
Right.
So it's very good. So this is your pancake?
There we go. And as long as it's the best one, I like mine a little crispy.
Well, you got a lot of blueberries on your.
There we go. That's you know me. I love blueberries, so that's going to be great.
Yeah.
All right, John. We cannot wait to taste everything when you come back, especially having something right here from our region. We'll be right back.